So itch me right there. Itch me right there. Oh, thank you, God. Okay. Well, today we have something really remarkable, something we've never done here before, something that is so spectacular that you're going to learn how to do something that everybody wishes they knew how to do. All right. Leslie Hamilton's going to teach it. What are you going to teach us today?
I'm going to teach you about egg tempera, which has been around since the tombs of King Tut and was used to paint your backdrop there. And
oh, you mean
pardon me?
The Sistine Chapel.
Yes, sir.
So you're going to show us the technique that Michelangelo used to paint the Sistine Chapel.
Yep.
Which is egg tempera. I got to tell you something. I know tens of thousands of artists. I have had thousands of artists on this program, and not once ever have we taught this technique. So today is very special, and it's got some benefits to it too. Leslie, what are those benefits?
Well, it's travel is a lot simpler with egg tempera than it is with oil paint. It's been compared to pastel and graphite pencil in terms of how you use it. It's done, you can do it like watercolor with large swashes, or you can do it very delicately with tiny cross hatching. And I've done both.
So what I understand about egg tempera is that you can get more brilliant color than you can typically. Now, one thing about pastel is you get this brilliant color because it's just pure pigment. And that's really the same thing with egg tempera. So I'll tell you what, why don't we let's get this thing going, and we'll show everybody what we've got and get this show started.
It's Art School Live with Eric Rhodes. Now, here's your host, Eric Rhodes.
So I would like to lie to you and tell you I'm coming to you live from the Sistine Chapel, but they won't let me in there anymore. I'm going to tell you a story towards the end of the broadcast about how I literally got busted at the Sistine Chapel. It was a remarkable day. It was something I did, which was the first time ever done in history at the Sistine Chapel, and I'll tell you all about it. Our guest today is Leslie Hamilton. Leslie is an artist that I met originally, I think on, I don't know, maybe Fall Color Week or Plein Air Japan or one of those things that I do. And we became fast friends. She's a lot of fun. She's a brilliant artist. And she's going to be teaching you about egg tempera today and how to paint in egg tempera. I have never in my entire art career, or 20 plus, probably more than that years, I've never learned how to do this. I am so excited today because I've always wanted to learn how to do this. And of course, you have to have chickens, right? So we'll talk about chickens too. I think she's ready. Are you there?
I am here.
Okay, so tell us exactly what you got going on here.
Okay, so what I've done is I have started this board. I like to work on boards when I'm doing egg tempera.
What kind of a board is it?
This one actually is a support board because when I work at my light table, I'm so clever, I can't stand it. I have a spice rack that expands, and so I can hold my boards at different levels. And right now I've got my crescent board, which is a heavyweight crescent board, taped down to a wooden board. And then what I do first when I want to work on these boards is I gesso them, at least 3 coats of gesso, sanding between so it's nice and smooth, but not like a hot press. I like to have a little bit of movement, a little bit of texture as I start painting. And the very first thing that you do, as you say, is get a medium egg yolk from a chicken. And we had actually pre-filmed something. I'm not sure if it's available to us or not.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah. So
do we have that right now?
I'm not sure.
Well, hang on a second.
Showing you how you open up an egg.
Well, we cannot see the lower part of your screen, so bring it up. Oh, here it comes. Here it comes.
Yeah. Okay. So this is about a 2.5-minute demonstration of what you do with it. It should be a medium egg yolk, and you want to try to get all the egg whites by pouring it back and forth. And then you pour it into a paper towel and kind of roll it back and forth because you want to release that membrane around what I technically call the goo. And so you'll see me break it open and pinch the little sac there. And then I let all the stuff run into a bowl. It usually takes 2 to 3 egg yolks for me to get the right mix. And then you go with kind of a 2 teaspoons for every egg yolk.
Teaspoons of what?
Of water. Sorry, I'm watching myself. I'm hypnotized. So you want to mix that with water. I like to use a nice filtered water because
Wait, what did you just put in there?
I added 2 more that I'd already pre-cracked and stirred up.
Oh, okay.
So then what you do is you use this as your binder. And
What's a binder?
a binder is going to take the pigment that I'm pouring into that cup on the left, which is straight pigment out of the tube. And the only thing it has in there as an additive, since it is gouache, is its own binder that holds it together. You
But
can
you
do
could-
this with
you-
raw powder pigment, but I don't.
So you could do just raw powdered pigment.
You can. And actually, there are companies that give you a prepackaged additive made from eggs, and you just use it on your dry pigments. I have not tried that, so I can't recommend it, but I wouldn't discourage you if you like to make your own.
Okay.
And then with each of the colors, you see, I like to take these little stacking containers and put my colors into those containers because they take up very little room, but I can have lots of colors handy when I'm working.
Oh,
So the
so
larger
you've
amount-
you've pre-mixed those colors into eggs?
I premix my palette, and the larger, if I think I'm going to be using a lot of it, and this particular painting has a lot of ochre in it. It is a scene, thank you, 𝗣𝗶𝗁, who took a photograph when he was in Dubai of a gentleman walking in a very narrow alley. These old stone buildings surround him, and he has a falcon on his shoulder. So I thought I was just really taken with that photograph.
Okay, so I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Your pre-mixed colors, you
Yep.
mixed them with the eggs, right? And
They're all
then, and you did or didn't mix them with the eggs? You did?
I did. Every one of
Okay.
these is mixed and it's equal parts.
So don't they dry out?
No, when you keep them in something like this, they do not. When I'm working, I put them in these little, very inexpensive daisy-shaped dishes, and then I keep them moist with a damp shop cloth.
Okay.
These are great.
So how
Absolutely.
long will they stay moist?
Well, I will put them in the refrigerator at night, but I stack them. And so this one, as you see, had nothing in it. This one has my active paint in it. And because it is a water-based paint, you can bring it back to life with just a little spritzer. I like
Oh,
to use
really?
these makeup spritzers full of water.
Okay.
And then just keep them like that. While I'm working, I like to keep it covered, just like this. And then it's always moist.
Okay. Well, this is exciting. I can't wait to see you actually do something.
Okay, what I did was
It is real egg yolk. And by the way, just yesterday, I was chasing chickens around the yard.
whatever floats your boat.
Well, no, the neighbor has chickens, and they got in. There's a hole in the fence, and they came into my yard, and I'm like running around like crazy trying to catch the chickens.
Well, what I'm doing right now is I am masking off. And from our very first Watercolor Live, I believe it was, I saw John Salmonen do this. And I didn't know that you could use tape on watercolor pieces, but you can. I can't get that open. I'll try with another one. Because there's a trick that I do that I want to show you. When I'm masking off areas in paintings, and there's something as organic as this surface here. I don't know if we have the photograph that I'm going to be working from, but let me share it with you from my iPad. So this is it. And what I have done is shortened it. I put it in my Photoshop and I shortened it down a bit because it was quite tall and it was a little too narrow and exaggerated for me to work on it the way I really wanted to. But as you can see, there it goes again. There's a lot of ochre involved. So when I mixed my ochre, I put it in a larger, these are the little restaurant jelly jars, and everything else goes into the stacked ones. So when I want to work on a project and I want to mask it, but it's a very organic feeling, I will take my tape and tear it in half, and I will go down.
We can't see the top of your canvas when you're doing that.
Okay, unfortunately, my tape is now shredding. This is so fun. So I'm going to do this really quickly, and then you just walk you through it, because this is not working for me.
All right, if you guys just tuned in, we're learning how the Sistine Chapel was painted by Michelangelo using egg tempera. We're going to teach you. We've never taught it here before. Our guest is Leslie Hamilton. And if you hang in there long enough, I will tell you how I got busted at the Sistine Chapel.
Go ahead and do that. Well, now while I'm prepping this, I just
No,
wanted to...
I'm not. I'm going to hold it to the end because I have to keep everybody to the end of the. Weren't you paying attention? Why are you making such a mess?
Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm masking off this area because each of the base coats is a little bit different. And I like to establish an edge to kind of keep the geometry. With these steep walls of this village, you've got this sort of natural...
Oh, so you did that on purpose. I thought you were making mistakes.
No. So I will do this. And then what I did earlier was took a wide brush, like a wash brush, maybe a 1.25 inch brush, and I dipped it into my pre-mixed wall color.
I have a question for you. You already laid down some of that wall color.
I did.
Okay, so now you're laying down a second coat.
I am, because I'm going to show the picture again.
We have it up. We have it.
Okay. All right. See this lower portion, lower right portion?
Yeah.
It goes very red. So what I'm doing is I'm doing cross hatching because it implies texture, and it makes something that is an organic material like stucco or rocks have a kind of a depth and dimension that you don't get typically with some other mediums. So I go all the way down, and while it's still damp, I'm going to add in this wonderful, a little more of the wonderful red over here. So I've got that pre-mixed, and I'm going to...
You just put water on your brush.
Yes, just a little bit of water. And now I'm going back in and I'm still cross hatching. It's going to pick up a little bit of the underneath color because it isn't quite set, which is what I want. And I'm going to darken this. And then while it's still like that, I don't want any of it to get out in here. And one of the reasons is the center, that color is mostly blue. It's very cool. And the two colors that are base colors up here in the back wall, and on this wall, you have much more yellow than this one is. So I'm going to do this totally cool thing that I love to do. When I do textured surfaces, I will take a natural sponge, a sea sponge, and I'll get it a little bit damp, and then I'll go into one of my little channels of color here, and then I'll dab it.
Yeah, so it can reactivate, pull some of that.
It can reactivate. You see I'm pulling it off a bit. Yep.
Very cool.
And so
𝗘𝗴𝗴 is asking, did you mix regular gouache as your pigment with the yolk?
it is regular gouache. I started out in college using Winsor Newton, and now I will use Holbein. Thank you for being in their factory in Japan. I love their gouache.
Oh, that's right. You went to the Holbein factory with us and we made paint.
Yes.
So much fun.
Yes, I did. And so when that's done, you pull it off. Now, ordinarily, I would wait for this to dry, and then I would mask in the other direction. Since this is a little bit damp, I'm going to use my magical Ranger, and I'm just going to dry the area that we worked on. It only takes a couple of seconds. This is the mostly silent one that we were discussing last week.
Craft dryer.
It is. It's just a heat craft tool. So it's pretty darn quiet.
Hey guys, tell us where you're watching from. We see Germany in there. Hello, Germany.
Okay. Now,
We need somebody from the Sistine Chapel. We need somebody at the Vatican. I hear they watch at the Vatican, by the way.
that would be fun.
Well, I'm not allowed back. I have been banned from the Vatican.
They have good sense.
Hey,
Right,
hey.
what I'm going to do very quickly is I'm going to tape this off. That could be a straight line because it's the edge of the concrete. I'm going to go in here, small bit here and here.
Now you could also use masking fluid, could you not?
I could, yeah, but then I don't have to wait for this to dry because it's just out of the way now, which is all I want. I want it so that I can keep them distinct shapes.
All right.
And this will be the next step.
Kathy is asking, hi from California. How long do you store paints? Do the egg yolks spoil?
I have stored them up to a month
Have you? Do you put them in the
in
fridge?
the refrigerator.
Yeah.
There is kind of, I wouldn't call it common knowledge, but it's an assumption that people put a little bit of vinegar in it to keep it from spoiling. That's not what it started out to do. Vinegar was put into it to knock down the smell of the egg yolks, because once upon a time they didn't have the refrigeration systems that we have now.
Yeah, they get a little smelly.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. So, and I love this one. Once upon a time in the Renaissance, because they didn't have refrigeration, these things would go bad pretty quickly. And so the artists would use myrrh, as in frankincense and myrrh,
Yeah.
to perfume it.
Huh. Hello, India. Well, I think that's really cool. Hello, France.
Okay, so we're going to stop here for the moment. As you can see, I'm going for what I see is the undercolor on the blue. And I'm going to switch to my mostly completed one because we need to move along.
This is what we call cooking show.
Yep, exactly. So as you can see, I have done most of the basic paint work. I did a lot of texturing on this side, as you saw. I graduated the color down here to give darkness that is in that photograph. Then I went back in and I did not go as dark in the values as it is in the photograph, because when I did, it was too much and I wanted to lead you into the man. So this gentleman is walking along. I'm going to get out my my number 12 brush here, and I'm going to put in a base color for him.
All right. Hello, Australia. Hello, Italy. Yay, we have Italy. All right.
That's probably lovely Linda Crab.
So since we're rambling,
yeah,
you were on the Japan trip. I think you were there when we opened up our Japan office, which was on April 1st.
Yes.
So
yes.
Just a little less than a year ago. I bet you don't know where we're going next.
You haven't said anything about it. I know where I'm going next.
No, you're going with us.
I'm taking some of our friends from Japan and Wales and we are meeting in Portugal, and we're painting in Portugal.
Huh. So you're a competitor now?
No.
I'm sorry, but we've just had to cancel this broadcast.
Okay, I'm laying in a lavender because that's what I see in this guy's robes. And if I don't like it, I can lift it. So another great reason to have this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to block in where I see the lavender and trying to keep my eye on stuff. I had traced the original image and realized that because of the lighting in it, it was a little bit difficult to see where this gentleman Sorry, my hair is in the way. My roadie over there is giving me cues. So I'm going to drop this in where I see the lavender, and it's because this is almost a gauze that he's wearing, and it moves with the slightest breeze. So it's doing this beautiful kind of rippling at the bottom of his figure.
Did
So,
you know that if you go to Portugal once a year, after 5 years, you can apply for EU citizenship?
I don't know that that's the case now. I know it had been.
No,
And
it is. It is now. Yeah.
my neighbors are moving to Portugal.
Yeah. I know your neighbors are trying to escape you. So I have a stupid question.
You see how I'm not resisting saying there is no stupid question?
Why go to all this trouble with egg tempera when you can just use gouache or something else?
I have used gouache. When I was at Fall Color Week with you, we painted together up there at the Cypress, and it just isn't as flexible. It doesn't lay down and stay down. You could pick it up and lift it all day long. Once this cures, it's great. You can go back and lift it. And I have a piece here. I'm going to share for a sec. This is a 45-year-old painting that I have popped out of the frame to take another stab at. At the time, just because time was precious in school, it did not get finished to the way I really wanted it. So I'm going to be working on that.
So
later.
you can actually reactivate that that paint?
No, it's set because of the egg yolk, so I can paint right over it.
Oh, the egg sets it. Okay.
Yeah.
Egg is a sealer to keep the gouache from moving. I get it.
It is, yeah. It's the glue that kept it to the ceiling, because as they threw you out the door of the Sistine Chapel, you will note that it didn't fall in on you.
You know, I don't know if you know this. This is not very well known, but this is part of what happened that I'll tell you about when I got busted at the Sistine Chapel. But they discovered that Michelangelo actually did bacons and egg. He used bacon grease as part of his binder.
That's very cool.
It's not true.
I was going to say, so he had something to snack on.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you got to have a balanced breakfast.
You had mentioned when we first discussed this that it is a process, and it totally is. But I love it. It's very zen.
Well, you know, it was very intimidating to me, and it sounded to me like it was really super slow, but it doesn't seem to be all that slow.
No, it's not, depending upon the subject. I mean, the little girl that I just shared with you has a bouquet of flowers. I mean, you start getting into flowers, and I think baby's breath in her hair, as I recall. You're talking about a lot of work.
Dennis Marshall is asking, yes, Eric was kicked out of the Vatican. I will tell you more at the end of this broadcast.
All right. We're not going to be able to do really fine detail because I know we have a limited amount of time. How much time do you have left?
There's a question from the audience. Corey is asking, have you ever done iconography?
No.
So there's a whole process for iconography, because I was in Russia and I met with an iconographer, and they have a process of they go through a prayer process as part of their painting process. You could use a little prayer, I'm just saying.
Well, when I was in Turkey, we went to a factory that does them, and I had learned that, and it was beautiful work, amazing work. But my mother used to collect them, so I had some.
They're hard to get out. I have some that I may have taken out of Russia when you weren't supposed to. I did get permission, though.
From a guy in a dark alley?
No, I went into this antique store in this small town, and they had these beautiful icons, and so I bought a couple of them. They were not touristy, antique ones, 100 years old.
Yeah.
And then after I bought them, the art dealer I was with says, "Oh, you can't take those out of the country." I said, "Why not?" He said, "It's illegal." I said, "What do I do?" He says, "Well, you'll have to leave them here." And so he had a guy come in, any paintings we bought, we had to have approved by the guy, because you can't take paintings out of Russia, even contemporary ones, without approval. And so I asked him if he would approve them, and he did.
Well, that's lovely.
Yeah.
How much did it cost you?
How much did it cost me is the question.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, I see somebody in here, Arts Traditionals. I can't tell where you're from because I don't have a way to translate your lovely, lovely text. I put it on the screen. Hello, Netherlands. It looks like it might be in the Middle East, this beautiful, I wish I could translate it.
It is. It is. This is, you mean this? The painting, it's Dubai.
It's Dubai. We need to do that.
Yeah, I think it is.
All right.
Because
So,
it was by our friend Jeff Eichhoff. I usually like to get up and wander around the room and give it a break.
no, you're not doing that today. You're on the payroll here. You're getting paid a lot of money to do that.
I know. Okay. So when you're doing the detail, I have this wonderful little brush. It's called a 10, but it is ultra mini 10. And this is wonderful because it loads a lot of paint in the body, and then the point is fantastic. I am going to finesse him a little later, but I want you to be able to see this incredibly cool bird on his shoulder. So that's coming along here.
Donna says Andrew Wyeth painted with Egg Tempera. I didn't know that.
Yes, he was my hero in college when I found his stuff. The Christine series was all Egg Tempera.
So I have a friend who, I can't tell this story, I guess. I have a friend who knows Olga. Is it Olga? The redhead that he did all the paintings of?
Oh, I thought that was Christina.
No, it's not Christina.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, there's a story, but I can't tell it. Not till she's gone. So the question is, what is the color of lavender?
Lavender to me is what I'm seeing as an undertone.
But what pigment is it?
Oh, I see. It's squash plus egg. You mean you're talking about
what color is it? Is it just called lavender?
Well, it's Leslie's lavender. I mixed it. I did the basics. Let me show you again. With this, I did the basics. It's really a very standard, good old-fashioned palette. I've got my Hooker's green that I made into 3 different greens. I've
Very
got
appropriate for you, don't you think?
ultimate green, and the cadmium red deep, and
Elga.
yeah, that's right. And a lot of ochres, 3 and 4 different kinds of yellows and ochres. I have a funny feeling I just wiped gouache on my face too.
Okay, well,
But,
the nice thing is you can just lick it, and you get a little protein.
Add sugar and it'll be custard. Okay, let's see. Yeah,
You don't
so
put air paint with it, because when you put those out on the sidewalk, on a hot sidewalk, you get fried eggs. All right, so we're learning how to paint egg tempera, everybody, in case you tuned in late. Our guest is Leslie Hamilton, and Diane says, now we have to watch to the end to know Eric's story about getting arrested or busted, I should say, in the Vatican. Does anybody know that story? If you've heard the story before, or I have told it before, go into the chat, see if you know it. I did something highly uncool.
dressed as a priest?
Oh, come on. It was more uncool than that.
Dressed as a nun. She's here all week, folks.
Yeah.
All right, so you can see this is cursory. I'm still blocking them in. And as much as I want to do, I want to get that bird in there. And I'm going to mix some colors. Again, I'm closing my lid so that there is no escaping, keeping it under control. And
So
after
when-
we finish here
so when-
today,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, after we finish today, I will keep working on him and post him for y'all.
Okay. All right. So when you go to the Sistine Chapel, you know, I don't know if they've ever been, but there's usually about 50,000 people in there. You wait in line for 4 hours and then they shuffle the room fill. It's like flooding it with water. It's so many people that you cannot even move your body. And it's
True.
horrible. And they don't have the lights on. And it's not exactly the best experience in the world. That's a precursor to my story. Are you working light to dark?
I am.
Why?
Because this is the suspense part of this presentation. That and your story about Sistine Chapel. Yeah, when I was there, I loved the museum as you're going in.
Your hair is blocking.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. So annoying.
Tamara is asking, are you using dried pigments or something like gouache? You missed that, Tamara. She's using gouache with eggs,
I am.
with egg yolk, blotted. And the nice thing is you can recycle the other part and cook it.
Oh, I make mean macaroons. I'll have to bring you some at Pace.
Oh, will you? I love macaroons.
Oh, yeah. All handmade, organic stuff. So this little guy, his head might seem strange, but the birds have to wear those masks as they're going from point A to point B. So he is sitting on his master's shoulder in his little helmet thing.
His helmet head. Lynn is asking, why not dry pigments? I think we answered that earlier, and it's because you can do either. You can do gouache or you can do dry pigments.
Yeah.
I came home one day from vacation, and my son, who was about 4 at the time, had gone into my studio and opened up my jars of dry pigments and thrown them into the air.
Oh.
And it was a toxic yellow, nickel yellow color everywhere, dust everywhere. So I hope that doesn't give him some kind of a long-term problem. I put him up higher after that.
Wow. We don't have small children wandering around here, but we have a very large dog. And we have to be sure that we don't leave anything out anywhere because she will be up there checking it out. And mostly it's edible one way or another.
Yeah. So how many paintings does it take to get enough whites to make macaroons?
Actually, to make a whole batch of macaroons, they only use 2 tablespoons of white.
Really?
So that's like 4 eggs.
I would like to learn to make them, except if I did, I would return to being 5,000 pounds.
Well, they're gluten-free. That's the good news. Okay, he's coming together. I'm pretty excited about this.
Maybe somebody will bring macaroons to Winter Artiscape next week.
Oh, that's right. You're going to Florida.
I'm
Lucky
in
you.
Florida now.
Oh, well, I know you live there, but I mean, you're St. Augustine.
Yeah.
You need to go into the old courthouse. Apparently it's haunted.
Oh, yeah. We have special permission. This has never happened in the history of St. Augustine. They had a problem there where the plein air painting was not allowed in town for a while. And the reason being that the painters, there's so many tourists, people were tripping over tripods. And so it went to the city council and they made it illegal for a while. They've since changed their tune because of the power of plein air magazine. And because we fought them on that a little bit. But anyway, we got special permission to paint in one of the areas that is not allowed for painting. And it's in the courtyard of this very old church. And they've never in the history of the church allowed anybody to paint in there, and our group's going to be able to paint in there. So that's pretty
That's wonderful. Wunderbar.
cool. Wunderbar.
I thought it was going to be because they'd heard about this guy who got kicked out of the Sistine Chapel and didn't want him around.
Oh, well, if I tell that story, they may not let me in. Maybe I shouldn't tell the story after all. Okay, so you're laying in your darks, you're putting a little shadow in.
Yep.
Okay. So this is tedious. I mean, but that's the small stuff. I get it.
Yeah. I mean, this took me 24 hours to prep, not even. So the big stuff goes pretty quickly, and it's just a matter of going back in and finishing the detail. But you can already see he's a guy walking with a bird.
So are you just going to leave the whites white like you would with watercolor?
Yes, pretty much. I did go
Because you
back.
could use white
I
gouache.
did go back in here and add some more white, and then I ran along the edge here and in the window here. Oh, let me tell you something that may or may not interest you. This was a lot of work. I'm trying to get it in front of the camera. There. This was a lot of work. That's the detail on the window. You don't worry about it. You do a dark background, and then you go over it. And I just kind of do scrolling, just decorative scrolling,
Okay.
because the point is not about the scroll work on the window, particularly on a window screen, but it's very common in Islamic countries to find that. Even in Spain, southern Spain, where there's a lot of Islamic influence, you will see these wonderful screens and windows with beautiful carving, decorative carving.
Lovely. Lovely. Comment says, Leslie is so good with the little details. She is.
Tell me where to send the $20.
Oh, my prices have gone up.
It's amazing how the light in this country, this area, just blasts everything out. And even his shadow is not all that dark.
Dark shadows. Remember that?
Oh, gosh, yeah. Barnabas.
Leslie, can you use egg tempera both transparent and opaque, or is it semi-transparent with multiple layers?
Is that a trick question?
That's from Tamara.
Oh, you're so technical, Tamara. I can, yeah, I have. I've done a background. One of the paintings that's now lives in Maine is Two Cowboys on a Hill, and I submitted that to you folks, and it was to demonstrate that the entire background is very translucent, like watercolor. And I would have done something like that, except that I was just enjoying the texture of these walls so much that I put more detail in than I might have otherwise.
Okay. Linda Marie Krabs says she's watching this with her grandchildren. Watch your language, Leslie. We've had this problem with you before.
Linda said that, or you said that?
I said that.
Oh,
Linda would never be so bold as to say that.
language?
Yvette is asking, could you use egg beaters?
No.
And Barbara's saying there are no eggs for sale in her local Safeway. Oh, well, you need chickens, Barbara.
Yeah, it took my husband days to find it. He actually had to go buy the 18 pack and of these because it needs to be a medium egg yolk. I'm surprised nobody's asked about that. But
why a medium egg yolk?
Why, thank you for asking. I'm so glad you did. It has to do with the fact that it is a binder, that it is it can be too glossy, it can be too hard, and it isn't as flexible to work with that way.
You mean, so if it's a bigger egg, it won't bind, it'll overbind?
Yeah, it ends up kind of sticky, and yeah, I've had problems with them. It just is, it's different. I'm very tactile when I paint. I love to have the sensation of the creaminess under my hand. And when you get into some of these larger eggs, and non-organic eggs, you'll find that there have been some weird additives that have an effect on your painting.
So does the, James is asking, does the painting ever start smelling like rotten eggs?
Nope.
Can you seal it? Can you put a varnish of some kind on it, like a
Yes.
watercolor varnish or something?
Yes. Yeah, I know enough people do, but my little girl over here was never sealed like that. And she doesn't smell at all. I'll tell you one thing. I think one of the benefits of this, we were talking about it earlier, is that you don't have the toxicity of it, the smell of it. It's all organic stuff or natural stuff. And as a consequence, after years of doing decorative painting, I have a sensitivity to mineral spirits. It makes me really sort of ill. And with something like this, you just don't get that way, which I think is lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are having mineral spirit issues. Does the paint stay wet longer on your palette and your painting?
Yes. Yeah. I prefer to use a ceramic container like this.
Yeah.
But as you well know, we had to do a little quick packing up a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah, you may have had a small fire in your town.
Yep. It was 2 miles away. It decided to stop there.
Pretty scary.
Oh, yeah. I can
Yeah,
think
we were watching your play-by-play.
Oh, sweet of you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, so I'm
unfortunately,
gonna
we have a
drop
lot of
one
friends
last
that we know
thing.
that did lose their houses and studios.
It's such a shame. It's really a shame.
And LA will never be the same. It's going to take 40 years to rebuild.
It's absolutely true. You know, and one of my favorite places to paint was the old Topanga Ranch Motel, and it was built by Randolph Hearst.
Wow.
And I used to love to go there. And then the adjacent restaurant was the Real Inn. Sorry about the hair, kids. At least I have some.
So Christy is asking, what's the difference between gouache and gouache with egg mixed in?
This becomes egg tempera.
Yeah, okay. And Christy is also asking, is gouache pure pigment?
Well, except the gum arabic that they put in tubes. So if you want to use pure pigment, then I would start out with the powdered stuff and mix your own. And I would do it with gum arabic and egg yolk.
Yvette says, why do all my art teachers say it smells bad? I guess they don't like eggs.
Yeah, it doesn't smell bad to me.
So Sunita is asking, if the egg is a sealant, then there's no varnish needed later, correct?
Well, for her, I didn't, but it was because it was under a frame. So if you want to leave it open, I imagine you would want to seal it somehow.
Well, you know, all it takes is a cleaning person to spray a little, you know, they're dusting off a frame and they spray a little water to wipe it down, and then it reactivates or something.
Oh, yeah. Well, I imagine it would run. But I have to show you this. This is what's interesting about then and now. If you can see her again.
Yes.
It's not moving.
Not reactivating.
Nope. Nope. So either
Andrew Wyeth's paintings are not framed; they are open. Okay. Meaning, I assume she means not under glass.
Yeah.
I went to a museum show the other day. Everything was under glass. It's so disappointing because they're trying to keep people with their crazy paints and knives away.
Isn't that wacky? I was in Paris when they hit, wasn't it Mona Lisa?
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
Can you use watercolor wax to preserve your painting?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So.
All right. We're going to give you another about 5 or 6 minutes, and that's
fine. I think we're close enough for nuclear warfare. So there you are.
So would you do us a favor, because there are a lot of people who tuned in late?
Yeah.
Would you just go through one more time how you do the yolks? I know you probably don't have an extra egg around.
Yeah, we do. Only, I think we have 16 more.
You don't need eggs anyway.
Okay, so there is just, I can't tell in the photograph if he has sunglasses on or dark skin. So we're going to compromise and do a little dot over here. And you can figure it out for yourself.
A little dot of what?
It is a dot of a beautiful kind of russet color that I mixed. When I was doing decorative painting and doing murals, I would walk into paint stores because I'd need it by the gallon. And I would have to go back and stand with the guys while they mixed stuff because I was so finicky. There are a few paint stores I was banned from, speaking of being banned from something.
Yeah, I'll tell that story in a minute. What kind of brush hair is best for egg tempera?
I love natural. I love Kolinsky, if you can get it. I love anything by Escoda. It's wonderful. And oh, thank you. All right, so we're going to do this.
All right, real quick review. Let's hold it up close so we can see your figure up close. A little lower. Nice, very nice. Good job.
There we go. Yeah. So he'll get more detail. There he is. Is everybody seasick now? Yeah. So the light is not great that's shining on him right now, so you really can't see him. But the subtlety is there, which I like. And I'm going to go back in and do some more stroking with my brush to illuminate him.
So Lois Fernandez is saying, I studied iconography. Whoops, I lost it. With Father Mefodini Fodei in Santa Fe at the something Prosopon School of Iconography, and he put a little vodka in the mixture. You know what? If we put vodka in the house with Leslie, it'll never get into the painting.
All right, we're going to show you this. Here is, make sure I'll put it up high enough. Okay, I can see.
More time.
All right, so I need another thing to dump the empty stuff in.
You have a really good assistant.
Oh, my roadie, Mike, is just awesome. All right, so we'll go over here with this.
Yeah, it was a pleasure getting to know him in Japan.
That's right. He came after all the dancing boys left.
Yeah, and then you went on your boating trip
to Thailand, hottest place on the planet. Thank you very much.
Yeah, never again.
Oh yeah, don't have to do that one again. But first night we were there, it turns out we were sailing what's called the Andaman Sea is actually a delta. And the delta was only 3 feet deep at night.
Tell people why you're doing the paper towel again.
I am trying to get the membrane, the sac that holds the egg off. And so I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to do it left-handed because it's easier to see. So I'm going to take it and there it goes. And you don't want any of that membrane in there.
Oh, you hold the membrane out.
Yeah.
I did that first time around. Oh, I'm glad
yeah.
this. Okay. Yeah.
So the membrane goes bye-bye.
All right. All right, good. Well, I'm going to tell my story. Come back on camera. Now, oh, that's right. You got to put the pigment in it real quick. Put the pigment in it.
Okay, so, well, what we're going to do is I'm just going to add dirty water. I can deal with it later. And it's about, let's assume this is a hefty tablespoon of goo. And then I'm going to add in about 2 tablespoons of water and then stir it up. Now, this is going to be tinted with the watercolor water not having been completely clean. So I will just set it aside to use it for my whites and my paler colors.
So I have a really stupid question. If you put powdered blue pigment into that yellow, will it make it turn green?
That's a really good question, actually. I like that.
Oh, do you have any blue? Do you have any blue around?
It definitely tints. I'll take that. It definitely tints the whites. So I don't really get a good pure white. So what I try to do is when I finish this guy, I'm going to make it a cool white against all the other warms, and then I'm going to hit it with just straight white, and that should keep it pretty pure. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
So here
Well,
we
if
are.
if whites are in the sun, they're going to be a little warm anyway, a little yellow anyway.
Yeah, very much so.
All right. Okay. So let us know how the blue goes, and
I will.
yeah.
And I will come around.
Okay, come back on camera real quickly, and I'll tell you the story. While she's doing that, while she's organizing her camera, let me just say this. First off, I am not in the Sistine Chapel, but I am going to tell you what happened there. Coming up on Valentine's Day is the cutoff date for the early bird pricing on the plein air convention. We have what is the coolest plein air event in the world. It's the largest gathering of plein air painters on earth and people from all over the world. And we learn together, we paint together. We have 5 stages. You can learn oil, watercolor, gouache, acrylic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, pastel. And so 5 stages, some of the world's leading artists teaching. We have instructors, about 80 of them. Also, these people will work with you when you're outdoors painting with us at the plein air convention. So it's coming up in Lake Tahoe. And if you want to go, just go to pleinairconvention.com and Paint in Paradise. This is our last time in California or Nevada for a few years. And so this is a good time, if you live out that way, a good time to come up. Paint in Paradise in Lake Tahoe and Reno. We're staying in Reno. We're painting all over. We recommend you take our buses because there's a lot of parking problems. Anyway, that's May 19th through 23rd, but the price goes up at the end of Valentine's Day, midnight on Valentine's Day. So get yours booked. And we fear there's going to be another sellout. I mean, we don't fear it. We love it, but we fear it if you don't get in there and get it done. Because this is the week, usually this week and next week, right before Valentine's Day, everything goes crazy. So that is coming up. And then the other thing I want to tell you about is we have a new event coming up called Acrylic Live. It's all online. We did Watercolor Live a couple of weeks ago. And this is 3 days of acrylic painting plus a 4th Essentials Day. And you, like Egg Tempera, you do watercolor painting different than you do acrylic painting and you do oil painting. It's all a little bit different. And some of the great artists are now switching to acrylic or adding acrylic. And like Kevin McPherson's going to be teaching what he learned about how to make his acrylics look like oils, but he's not using oils when he travels anymore, most of the time anyway. So come to Acrylic Live. It's a blast. That's at acryliclive.com/ASL. Okay, here we go, Leslie. You ready? Wait.
Really hard to take you seriously with his finger in your ear.
Let's see if I can get him in my nose.
You're the best.
All right. So I do these annual trips. You came on one of my plein air trips. So I try to do an annual plein air trip to someplace exotic. I've got a new one I'm about to announce maybe in a week or so. It's big, really unusual. And then I always do these collector trips with Fine Art Connoisseur magazine. We usually go somewhere in Europe and we go behind the scenes at the museums and we get you all these special experiences. So we went to the Sistine Chapel one time in our early stages of our trips, and we went in there and, we were packed and the lights were off and it was just not a really good experience. And so when we decided to go back to Rome 10 years later or something, I said, we're not going to the Sistine Chapel. We're not putting up with that. And he said, well, everybody wants to go to the Sistine Chapel. I said, we're going there, but we're going there privately. I said, do whatever it takes. I said, whatever it costs, make it happen. So our little group, there's thousands of people waiting in line to get in. And our little group goes way past every other group. We go into the Sistine Chapel the first time it opens in the morning, and we had it privately for 30 minutes.
Wow.
Right? 30 minutes. And there's just like 40 of us, right? So we're able to, somebody asked, did I get busted for laying on the floor looking up? No, I didn't. Because we had the ability to be in there. And we were not supposed to take photographs, but I did the first ever Facebook Live from inside the Sistine Chapel. And I quietly went on my phone and prepared it. And then I said very quietly, you know, I'm in the Sistine Chapel and I'm showing it around, and we're here privately and I'm showing it around. And the guard comes up, no photos, no photos. And then they realized I was on Facebook, so I had to leave. So that's what happened to me. Anyway, it was such a big deal that it got written up in the national news. It was all over the internet because we had violated the Sistine Chapel's rule and done the first Facebook Live inside the Sistine Chapel.
Hilarious.
So now, there you go. Now you have it. Leslie, thank you for being on today. You were a great inspiration. We learned a lot, and this is the first time we've ever had Egg Tempera on this program. So thank you. We'll have you back.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Right.
Thank you for having me. It's been a blast. God bless you and Amandine and all my friends, all my Dreamliners, my brother, my sister. Bless you all.
Your brother, your sister, your
I think James is my brother from Milan and Kathy is my sister from up north. Very near to where Pace is going to be.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see you at Pace if I don't see you sooner. Thank you again.
I'll bring the macaroons.
Oh, yes, please do. Okay. Bring a lot of them. A lot of them. Like
I will.
100 of them.
Oh, easy.
I mean, well, big plein air convention. Let's bring one for every person. So
that's great. 3,000.
Bring thousands of them. Okay.
Well, quickly, do you want yours chocolate dipped or plain?
Both.
I do a bittersweet chocolate dip.
As long as it's dark chocolate, I'm in.
Oh yeah. It's a 70% cocoa stuff. I'm a snob.
Thank you very much. Hey, you guys, I've got a free gift for you. If you're a first timer here, we have this free gift, and it is called 97 Incredible Art Secrets. It's a sample video. It's about 2 hours, and we've taken some of the great tips from some of the hundreds of videos that we've produced and put them in this. And you can stream it instantly, or if you want a DVD, which some people do, you can pay the shipping on it. All right. 97artsecrets.com/free. Okay. Let's see. What else am I supposed to talk about? We are here every weekday at 12 noon, and we have Mondays. We do Marketing Mondays. We do Guest Artist Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday we do Feedback Friday, where we do critiques on your paintings. I want to tell you that I launched something new. On January 10th, we did Art Business Mastery Day, and we had a huge crowd, well over 1,000 people, and we had a lot of people who learned a lot about how to sell their artwork and how to get into galleries and all those things. We had a lot of guests on that day, and we've been getting a lot of people asking, well, can I buy the replays? Yes, of course. If you go to artbizmastery.com, you can find the replays there. They're for sale. And then also there are my 3 new mastermind groups where I coach people. We coach people. My team coaches people, and we work with you. And so you can take a look at those too while you're there, artbizmastery.com. Last but not least, we have a site where we have hundreds of videos that we've produced. It's called painttube.tv, not .com, painttube.tv/ASL for Art School Live, so we know where you watched from. We have over, I think, 700, maybe more now, full-length, in-depth, high-definition courses. Some of them are older, some of them are newer, but it's probably the largest library of art instruction on earth. And you can watch on your app, you can watch on Roku, Apple TV, Fire Stick, Samsung TV, etc. So you can watch on your big screen. Anyway, we have the best of the best, and so that's what we've got going on. Anyway, that's all we have for today. If you haven't subscribed to this program, make sure to go to YouTube, look up Art School Live, and hit the subscribe button. Okay, go to YouTube, Art School Live, and hit the subscribe button. And then if you would give me a follow, I'm on everything. I'm on Threads now, Blue Sky now, X, Facebook, Instagram, everything, Pinterest. So I'll be there wherever you are. I'll be there. Thank you guys for tuning in today. And again, thanks to Leslie. And I don't know yet if I can get back into the Sistine Chapel. By now, you know, they've changed administrations and they probably don't even know I exist anymore. So maybe I can get back in. Well, maybe I'll put something together. Okay, guys, we'll tell you about the big trip coming up soon. Stay tuned. Tune in every day.